Welcome back to Sledgehammer Horror, guys. I am Ken Sledge, and let's talk horror. Now, today I'm joined by the beautiful Marianne. Marianne, how you doing today?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing very well. A lot better now. But before we talk about why you're here, Marianne, I would like for the people that don't know you to get to know you a little bit. You work in education by day, and at night you're just the average horror girly. I almost said ghoulie. It worked. You love watching 80s horror, gaming with your friends, and recording your podcast as well. The Body Count continues. So, what you do that with one of your friends as well. So, what gave you the desire to start the Body Count continues?
Honestly, I was invited onto another podcast. Excellent day for a podcast. Really great group of guys. They invited me on to talk about Jason, which is a really good way to get me talking. And I had so much fun. Like I was very ambivalent. I was very like my anxiety levels were high, but in the end, at the end of the day, I had so much fun doing it. And that's what really made me want to. And I mean, my amazing co-host Evil, I'm not allowed to reveal his real name, so I'll just call him Evil. He's one of my closest friends, online and in real life. Like we just clicked so fast, and we just have so much fun doing it. I mean, isn't that the point?
Right.
So I think that's it. It was just a new way for me to hang out with one of my friends and a new kind of forum to discuss what we always discuss anyways when it's just me and him.
Sure. Well, and it's amazing how that works. And, we talk about these things a lot. I met you through Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it now. And we became fast friends on there as well. And I do have the body count continues, as well as Marianne's social media links down in the description, guys. So please make sure you're following her. I knew that I had to work with her when I found out that Jason Voorhees was her soulmate. For anybody that follows the channel, Ashley and I have an ongoing battle of Jason versus Michael. So when I found someone that was Team Jason,
Yes.
I knew I had to hook her and bring her on the show. So, um, and you do credit R.L. Stein for getting you into the genre in the first place. Not your first horror movie, but R.L. Stein really got you started in horror. That whole viewer beware, you're in for a scare thing. So,
It was the
even
books,
now,
actually.
that's what I was going to ask. Was it more the books or the TV show?
So the books came first. I'm aging myself a bit here. But I got into it before there was a TV show.
Mm-hmm.
And it was Goosebumps. And then very quickly, and this is no disrespect to Goosebumps, very quickly, I wanted something a little less, I want to say child oriented. So Fear Street was my sweet spot.
Yeah.
Like I hit the ground running with that series and I blew through it. And it felt a little bit more mature. It had the slasher aspect versus the more supernatural tone of Goosebumps, and I'm a big
Mm-hmm.
slasher fan. So it was really Fear Street that I started gobbling up, and from there I went to Stephen King
Yeah.
and have not looked back since.
I get it. And especially because, I think that's kind of the natural progression as a kid going from like, the Goosebumps and then Fear Street and then to King. Like that's kind of the epitome for us. But I love talking about how horror started for people. And, in order for you to do the podcast, the body count continues, or have all the amazing content that you put up on Twitter, I'm not ever going to just call it X, about horror and horror related things, horror had to start for you somewhere. So now, Marianne, I would like to go back to the past and talk about what got you started in the horror genre, your first horror movie. And Marianne, your first horror movie was.
Friday the 13th part two. I think a lot of people already know this. I've talked about it a lot. I was not allowed to watch horror at home when I was a kid. Very sheltered childhood, and I wanted it wasn't for a lack of trying, but it was just not going to happen at my house. And I went to a friend's one day and walked in, and Terry was walking out of the water, stark naked, and I was hooked, line and sinker. Like, oh my God, what is this? I need to see more. And then the gore and the blood. Okay. And I mean, there's a reason that to this day, my favorite movies are the 80s movies that are really just can be boiled down to boobs and blood, which sounds so simple, but I don't know. They have
Still
such a
got to be done
special
the right way.
yes. And Friday the 13th for me hits all those notes.
Mm-hmm. creative kills. It's not just a bunch of people standing around and waiting for a guy behind sheets to come over and get them. So yeah, I totally agree with that.
I see what you're doing there.
Uh,
Look, Jason's my favorite, so I'm definitely like on your team here. But I love Michael. Michael is my number two. I love a man in a mask. I love a killer in a mask, and the whole stocky vibe of Michael and Jason is what I like. But yeah, Michael's number two, but he's still awesome.
sure. I think he's fine. I just think that Jason is more creative. Like Michael to me is just kind of borderline boring. It's just, I'm gonna stab you. I'm gonna stab you. Maybe I'll hang you on a wall. Jason's like, I'm gonna get a pitchfork and I'm gonna hang you up. I'm gonna get a bow and arrow and I'm gonna shoot you. I'm gonna get a why can't I think of it? What he killed Bureau with? The spear gun.
The
Like
spear gun, the weird
yeah,
saw thing in New Blood that he uses on Dr.
yes,
Cruz.
like he goes all out all the time, and I absolutely love how Jason is so special in that way. Um, so
Yes, I
we're
agree.
talking about you weren't able to watch it at home. So do you remember about how old you were when you had watched it for the first time?
I want to say 11 or 12. I was in grade six. I know
Okay,
that. I was in grade six. And so this friend did not have the best reputation. My mother did not like me hanging out with her. And
sure.
once I realized that she could pretty much watch whatever the hell she wanted to watch at her house, well, I was there every weekend. And that's how I blew through the Friday franchise. And then I think she showed me Texas Chainsaw next, Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street. We kind of did all the big franchises. And then I think it wasn't too long, maybe I was 14. It wasn't too long after that my parents kind of opened up their minds a little bit,
Sure.
um, and started letting me watch, I think, what they thought were like artsy horror movies. So my mom showed me The Shining. Um, and that's, yeah, it just kind of, I got really more into the gory stuff, not gore heavy like Terrifier,
Sure.
but I'm implied violence is great. I like to see like practical effects. That's my favorite thing in horror movies. And especially when you watch these documentaries and you get the behind the scenes of how they make the effects
Oh yeah.
work. It's just awesome. I have
Well, I think
immense
it's amazing.
respect for people who do that.
Well, practical effects are perfect to me, but I feel like, because everybody hates CGI. I don't hate CGI. I think that if CGI is used correctly, it's great. I've always said that your practical effects should be your mashed potatoes and your CGI should be your salt and pepper. You want the meal to be your CGI, but you want to season it just a little bit to give it that little bit of a special taste, and it works out perfect. Um, so we know that horror
Couldn't
started
agree
with
more.
we know that it started with Friday 2 with our old buddy Sackhead Jason, but what was the scene that affected you the most from this movie?
Easily Mark's death, I think. I think when I saw it for the first time, I was like, you can't kill a guy in a wheelchair. That was like,
Right.
and I didn't even know much about the horror genre at the time, but I think we all kind of felt, or maybe we were trained to feel like certain
It's off
deaths should
limits.
be off limits for moral reasons. I
Yeah.
Right now I don't give a fuck. I'm like team fuck them kids. I do not care.
I'm
But
a
at the
dad now
time,
too.
I think um I think at the time it was like Mark, oh my God. And yeah, just the shock of you can't throw a guy in a wheelchair down the stairs. You can't hit him in the face with a machete.
And then
But
Jason
then I
went,
grew
"Oh,
to
my
love
bad."
it. Exactly. And it's one of the best things about him. Like he doesn't give a shit.
Right. Yeah, he's absolutely amazing. And I think that what's special about this movie too is because we all know this is Jason Voorhees here. Now, this isn't the Jason Voorhees we know and love with the hockey mask and all that, but this is still the start of Jason Voorhees, the stalker. So we know what scene affected you the most, Marianne. But what would you say your favorite scene from Friday 2 was?
I think probably the campfire when Paul is getting into Jason's lore just before Stu comes out to kind of jump scare the shit out of them.
Yeah.
I am a sucker for a campfire.
Mm-hmm.
Like that to me is a vibe, which is probably why Friday is my favorite franchise. But I went to camp when I was younger, so I think it's like a very relatable thing to me.
Sure.
And yeah, the nostalgia vibes. They're all just gathered around a fire. He's telling a scary story. I mean, it sounds like the best place to be until Stu
Yeah.
jumps out, but
Well,
I like
sure.
that scene. I
Well,
also
I
like
think
Jeff
that
and Sandra's death. The double spear. I wish we could have seen the uncut version because in the uncut, well, the unedited version, it goes on a little longer where Sandra sees him and she's trying to like push Jeff off of her, but she can't speak, and it's just this like helpless tension building that I would have loved to see. But you still get a minute of it where she just looks terrified because she
yeah.
sees what's coming, but he doesn't, and I love that.
And I agree with that because I think that that's probably one of my favorite deaths in the whole franchise. But I do love Ginny in this
Based.
movie. I love how she uses her child psychology to trick Jason. I think that whole thing is it's a fantastic addition. So whenever we talk about a franchise, I always ask, is Friday the 13th Part 2 your favorite movie in this franchise, or do you have another one that's a little that tops it?
So Friday the 13th Part 2 is high in my list, very high. I want to say it's third. Um, I have Jason Lives and New Blood constantly battling it out for the top spot. Jason Lives is the one that feels most like a movie, like a I don't want to call the horror genre unserious because it's not, but it felt like a real production. Like Tom McLaughlin put so much thought into the script and it's just fantastic. And I mean, look, I like a movie with nudity. So to say that my favorite of the franchise is the only one without nudity to me speaks volumes to how good the movie actually is.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
then New Blood is on the other complete opposite end of the spectrum. It's so unserious. A chick with telekinetic powers and some of the scenes are just so laughable. But it's fun. It's probably for me the most fun of the franchise. And then two is tense. They all have different, like every installment has a different vibe, and two to me is like the tense one. And I love it. I just I want
My
to put all
favorite
the
is
Paramount ones in first place. They all rock.
My favorite is the one that is most everybody's least favorite, and I will die on the hill that it's the best
Jason
Friday
Goes
the
to Hell.
13th movie. It is Jason Goes to Hell. It is my absolute favorite. I adore that movie. I think it's so special. It's a mix of Evil Dead, Friday the 13th, and Nightmare on Elm Street. I love Adam Marcus. I've become friends with him. I was a big fan of this
Oh,
movie long
that's so
before I met him,
cool.
but I've been a defender of that movie for a very long time, and I think that it's special. I think that it's the biggest swing in the franchise. I think Creighton Duke is one of the best characters in the whole franchise. I love how much of the Evil Dead they put in it, with the Necronomicon and the Kandarian dagger, all the lore coming together, even though he couldn't do it. And one of the coolest stories Adam told me was he asked permission from Sam Raimi to do this. And Sam was like, you can't say the
Wow.
Necronomicon because we don't own that, because they own
Yeah.
it. But here's my copy. And he gave Adam his copy of the Necronomicon to use while filming Jason Goes to Hell. And I thought that was so rad. Like, I thought that was super cool. Like, Sam was like, yeah, bring Evil Dead into Friday the 13th. Because this reasonably explains
I
it.
just learned something.
Yeah, the way that Adam wanted to do it was Elias Voorhees, Jason's dad, used the Necronomicon to raise Jason from the dead and as a deadite. And so, like, all this makes so much sense after talking to Adam, but the studio didn't go for it because they didn't know how they were going to set up Elias in a sequel. So it's just really cool to hear these stories and be able to retell them. And like I said, it's a movie that I'll defend until the end of time. So, um, I love talking about the Friday the 13th franchise, obviously, and what it means to you, Marianne. But here for a second, my little buddy Ghostface is here, and he has a question for you. What's your favorite scary movie, Marianne? What is your favorite horror movie of all time?
Oof. Oh my God. Um, hmm. I don't know. Like this is a hard question. So it used to be a really easy question. I just saw The Long Walk recently, and
Mm-hmm.
it topped my list of Stephen King adaptations. It even blew The Shining out of the water. And it's no shade to The Shining, because both are 5 stars. But this movie just like affected me so much. I'm
Especially with the
trying,
atmosphere that's going on the planet right now.
yes. And I
100% agree.
like if it beat out The Shining, I mean, I guess I would have to call it my favorite movie of all time, a horror movie of all time. I really hadn't given it that much thought, but I mean, I went back and I saw it 4 times. I
Damn.
can't
Wow.
begin, yeah, I can't begin to describe how good David Johnson is and Cooper Hoffman.
Incredible. I didn't even know that was Philip Seymour Hoffman's kid until later on. And I was like,
Same.
now I see it.
David Johnson, I mean, after Romulus, you can ask any
Yeah.
when I was done
Hey,
watching
Mandy,
Romulus,
baby.
he was my favorite thing about that movie. And
Yep.
it kind of sucks for Kaylee, I don't know how to pronounce that last name. Kaylee Spenny. Anyways, it kind of sucks for her because I feel like Rain was overshadowed a lot by Andy. She, nobody's going to replace Ripley. So I think it's kind of easy to shift your focus to him. I mean, the best
I,
synthetic of the franchise, he made me feel so
yes.
much, and he's not even human. Just he is probably like my favorite actor right now.
He's incredible.
Yeah.
Um, So I know I said this at the beginning, guys, but I want to reiterate. I have all of Marianne's links down in the description. So please make sure you're following her on social media. Please make sure you're subscribing to the podcast. We're available, leaving 5 stars, and making sure that you are hyping it up because that really helps with the podcasting algorithm as well. So make sure you're leaving your reviews and leaving 5 stars on those. So before I let you go, Marianne, we always bounce back to the same question. We're going to go back to Friday 2, and what we're going to do is rank this on a skull count. Now, we're not ranking it on acting, production, score, director,
Uh-oh.
nothing like that. We're not being critics. All we're doing is ranking it on your how it affected you on your first viewing. So 0 skulls being not effective, 5 being extremely effective. You can use half and quarter skulls anywhere in the middle. Marianne, what would your ranking of Friday 2 be?
5 skulls. 6 if I
I was gonna
could
say
get
if
it.
you don't say 5, you're fibbing.
No, no. I
There's
mean, every movie, every Paramount movie in that franchise. I mean, I'll just say like Skulls to me is would be the same as stars on Letterbox.
sure.
Every Paramount movie to me is 5 stars. The reboot is 5 stars. Um, Jason Goes to Hell. So, funnily enough, like it used to be my most hate, and I used to use the word hate. I have softened on it quite a bit in the last few rewatches, and I agree with everything you said. Take some big swings. Creighton Duke, such a great character. Um, the effects. I mean, that was the first time they could really go crazy with the effects, and we got the director's cut, where we got to see everything that they couldn't show in theaters. That tent scene, the tent kill. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff there. A lot. I have not had the pleasure of meeting Adam Marcus yet. Where we follow each other on Twitter. He's always very kind. I'm worried that a few times in the past he might have seen my slander, but I'm it's really growing on me a whole lot. And um none of them are, you know what? None of them are bad. The only one that I will say I really don't like and is shit is Freddy versus Jason. It is a shitty Jason movie.
Yeah. Good
It's a
nightmare
great
movie,
Freddy movie.
bad
Yeah,
Jason
thank
movie.
you. You get
Yep,
it.
totally,
You
totally
get
agreed.
it.
Totally agreed. The best thing about that movie is Jason killing all the sexual assaulters and douchebags. That's the best
Yes.
thing about that movie. Um, so again, thank you so much for joining me and taking the time to spend with
Thank
me
you so
today.
much for having me. This was
It
fun.
means the world. It honestly does. So, but please
Well,
don't go
it's
anywhere,
very
Marianne.
mutual.
Thank you. Yeah, don't go anywhere. I got a couple more questions for you. Everyone else, if you haven't already, please like, comment, and subscribe. It does help build the channel more than you know. And follow Sledgehammer Horror on social media. Those links are in the description as well. But until next time, keep talking horror, stay what you are, and we'll see you guys soon.